Welcome to the video for lesson in quiz 3.06 titled 3 Kinds of Rocks. In this lesson we will learn not only about the different types of rocks and how they're formed, but also how they can transform from one type to the other. And our 3 main types of rocks are igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. Please take a moment and pause this recording in order to read carefully the objectives or goals for the lesson. When you're ready, press play. You can find the student guide on page 3 of the lesson introduction. This is a great place to go to take notes while reading the lesson. 3 kinds of rocks. What are they and how do they form? First of all, let's get familiar with their names. Sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic rocks. You can see each one pictured here. Remember that rocks are a mixture of minerals. It's not just copper. It's not just sulfur. It's a mixture of different minerals, and we can classify them into 3 groups depending on how it was formed. Igneous rocks. Let's start with them. A volcano erupts and lava cools. When magma reaches the surface, it's called lava. Then lava cools and forms a rock. This rock is called an igneous rock. Take a moment to write that down. An igneous rock is formed by the cooling of lava. Remember that magma cools slower than lava does, and we get 2 kinds of igneous rocks. One is intrusive and one is extrusive. Intrusive means, you guessed it, it cooled inside the earth. Extrusive means it cooled outside the earth. And the size of its crystals, if you have large crystals or small crystals, that tells you if it formed in the earth or outside of the earth. So make sure you know that about igneous rocks. And as it says rocks formed from magma that would be under the earth have the larger crystals. Those formed from lava on top of the earth have smaller crystals. So looking at the crystal size will tell you which kind of igneous rock you have. Again, or how big the crystals are tells you which kind of igneous rock you have. You also might note that there's 2 kinds of magma, felsic or mafic. Depends on the composition. Sedimentary rocks, let's move on to those. It's formed when you guessed it, sediment hardens into a rock. There are 3 kinds, clastic, chemical, and organic. Make sure you know that chemical sedimentary rock is formed from mineral grains that form when a lot of evaporation happens. So make sure you know that chemical sedimentary rocks are composed of material evaporated from seawater. Organic ones are formed from remains of animals and plants. Organic means once living. Sometimes sedimentary rocks have that looks like stripes. We call it stratification. It just means that it's formed in layers. So make sure you know that stratification is when sedimentary rocks are formed in layers. It kind of looks like stripes. The last type that we'll talk about today is metamorphic rocks. These form as a rock goes under the earth surface where it's hot, and there's high pressure. Make sure you know that metamorphic rocks form from heat and pressure. Sometimes they show foliation, which is kind of like a striped texture. Metamorphic rocks contain the same composition as the rock they came from. Remember that there's 3 kinds of rocks. They're determined by how they formed and what they're made of. Make sure you know that chemical sedimentary rocks are formed from evaporated seawater. Make sure you know that stratification in sedimentary rocks is when you see layers. And last but not least, metamorphic rocks form by heat and pressure. Thank you and have a great day. Good luck on quiz 3.06.